Hello, welcome again. And I've got a little project to do. One of the guys at work has got a Scion XP and wants to put some custom bullets on the grill. So one of the things I would do is recreate the grill and recreate the bullet, and then we're going to make some adapters to print on the 3D printer. So this will be a little bit of a project. Might have to put this into a couple parts to make it all watchable, but here we go. So let's start off. I've already taken some notes. And here's my notes. Not real exciting, but I took some notes on just what the grill is, and then I'm going to go back and I'm going to recreate the bullet that he wants to put on that. And the biggest problem is it's got 7 grill bars, and the stud is right in the middle, and it's going to land on one of the grill bars. So it's threaded. So what I'm going to do is make a cone that fits down inside of here and then has a comb on it that's at the same angle as the grill, and then we'll make a capture at the back of it to kind of hold everything in place. So it's going to be multi-part. So we'll start off. I've already got some dimensions drawn on the grill part. I've got some footage I'm going to splice in here. I'm learning video editing as I'm going, so bear with me. So here we go. Let's start off by making this grill, okay? So the easiest thing to do, it's curved. Simple projects like this are kind of easy to deal with. So we'll just go ahead and we'll select our XY panel here, and we're gonna grab our arc tool. Okay, so in the 2D sketch thing, we've got arc, circular arc, and tangent arc. We're just gonna grab circular arc right now. We can pick 2 points in space. So click each end, and then bring it up, and then that way, and then click off. So it's 3 clicks. So left, right, and center, or whatever it is. So it's you basically you're establishing your endpoints and then the amount of arc. And because this is symmetrical, we're going to go ahead and pull our symmetrical straight. We'll go ahead and lock those in. And then the other thing I want to do is I want to square it. So we do our perpendicular constraint, and we're going to square this to our y-axis. All right. Actually, it should be the z-axis, right? Yeah, whatever. I don't concern myself with the x-y axis that much. So, in my notes, I've got the height overall is going to be 3 inches. Because I have it laid on my table. Where'd it go? Control Z. All right. So from here up, oops, that's not what I want. I need the dimension. So dimension up, that's what happened. So that one, it's 0.5 inches up. Okay. It is, overall, it is 40 inches wide. Okay, so rescale this, right? So then we're going to go from our X to the top, and it's going to pick our dimension. We're going to go with what, on the outside of your radius. So pick line to outside. Okay. Let's see, that's the wrong dimension now. So escape, do it again. It's just kind of, it's one of those things that doesn't seem to make sense sometimes. So it's 2. All right. Come on now. 2. See, it won't pick it. Why is it doing this to me? This is one of those things that just doesn't seem to make sense sometimes. I mean, you try one, try the other. There it is. Okay. So now that is only 3 inches tall. So that gives us that's a way to figure out the radius. I mean, if you know what the radius is, you don't need to go backwards like this. And we can go ahead and we can pick, what this radius is. And it's an 81.25 inch radius. How would you have known that? There are tools out there so you can pick radiuses. And if you're trying to retrofit or reverse engineer, I'm sure I used the correct word, reverse engineer a part, having that kind of information, having one of those tools is pretty helpful. I'll go ahead. I'm going to turn this into an actual part, just kind of like what it is. Circular arc again. Don't worry about it. And now we're going to go ahead and pick constraint or concentrics. Okay. Perpendicular. Okay. And then from there to there. Come on. That is 0. So that's the grill bar. Okay. And the grill bars are 1/4 of an inch thick. So let's go to mid plane 0.25. Okay. So now we can look at it in our 3D view. And that's what the grill bar looks like. It looks like the video that I just showed you. So now there's 7 of them. And we need to know what our spacing is on these. So let's see, linear pattern. This, our linear pattern path is going to be our z-axis. Spacing is 0.375, right? So there's 3 of them on that side. Okay, and we got to pick it again. Oh, I didn't do it right, quite right, did it? What is the spacing on that? Go back and measure that. So let's just go ahead and set up our next linear pattern. Pick this again. Linear path is our Z. And then we're going to hit change direction. Okay, so, and I know the width on it overall is 3 1/8 inches wide. So Control M gives you your measure tool. You can go up and measure it in there too, but Control M makes it pretty easy. You can select the outer 2 edges and see we're 2.5 inches, so we need to be 3 1/8, right? So this is where you can grab your calculator. Oop, not calendar, sorry. I'm going to edit that out. So grab a calculator. So we want to be 3.125. Ah, come on. 2.5. So we have to increase it by 5/8 of an inch. Divided by 6. So we have to add 1.04 thousandths to each one of these. So let's go back in, edit it. And you can just add it right there. 0.104. Yep. I don't know why it does that sometimes. You're supposed to be able to pull that little bridge down on the side there, and it's supposed to just move to that last thing. That. That should be. So now. So 3.124. So we're really close. So that's pretty much what the grill bar looks like. It's got some bracing on the back and stuff, but that's more or less what it looks like. So we can go ahead and save this off. Let's put in. Let's see. Did I create a file for this guy yet or not? No, I did not. So let's create a file. Fat Daddy. And Side XP Grill. Okay. So now we've got some stuff we can kind of figure out what it is that we can move off onto our next thing here. I'm going to take a break. Hang on a second. Okay, so going back to the part, the grill bars are way too thick. So let's go back to our extrusion, edit, and then so it's the bars are actually 0.124 apart. Okay, hit tab. Okay, so that's what that is. And then when you go back, it'll regenerate that again. So now we just go Control M again and make sure that our outside is, so we're just under now. So now we're at 2998. And we still need to be 3125. So 3.125 is 2.998. So we have to add another 0.1275, right? So I'm just gonna move this off so I can still see it. So now we need to go back in. And so this dimension here, right? So we can add it in. You can just add it right on. Okay. And it does that automatically. You can do little math functions on here, right? The last. So this one, we want to make it all symmetrical, right? So instead of adding it in here, we go right into the function. And D6 is our previous dimension. So we just type in right here. D6, microphone's in my way, sorry. So now we've kind of got this all locked in together. So if we were to make any dimension changes on the first linear pattern, it would automatically do it for the second pattern. So now Control M again, outside dimension, outside dimension. Okay, we're way too big now. How did that happen? Okay, so now this is what is confusing me. Okay, that shouldn't have been. What did I do wrong? I'm going to go back and edit some of this. I didn't want to show you all these stupid mistakes. Ah, crap. Okay, so now we look at it and the grill bars are too thick. The grill bars are actually thinner. So go back in. So make them 0.124 if you measure them out right. Right. So then when we produce it, it's going to be too narrow now. So instead of our 3 and an 8, we're right under 3 inches. So we need to add 0.125 basically, right? So pull up your calculator again. And if you're good at math, you can just do it right in your head, right? Minus 8. Okay. And then divide up by 6. These are 6 holes, right? So we need to add that point. We need to add this right in here. So we need to add that to it. It could be 2.0212. Okay. What's it? 0.0212. It's just going to round up. Okay. So now, it does that? It drives me crazy. Now, what I did is I went back and I changed this. So I changed this to D6. So D6 is this another equation that we kept adding in here, right? So, and it just basically replicates that in the opposite direction. So now we should be really close to our final dimension. Look at that, right on the money. Perfect. So save it. And now we've kind of got an armature. We can start figuring out how to put the next pieces on. So I think we'll close this off and we'll move on to the next piece. It's just 2.98 inches in diameter, and then our overall get it, but our overall is about 2.9 inches. So let's go ahead and generate another solid pattern here. So let's go ahead and select our XY axis, activate the sketch, and circular arc, pick the X axis and Y axis, and you can see it kind of gives you a dimension there. It kind of helps you out, shows you when you're lined up. It's really tough to see on the screen, but the vertical axis it's got a red line on it. If I go above that, you can actually see it generate it. If you look at the top of the screen where the cursor is, so it kind of helps you snap, and you can uh, escape. You can set a grid and stuff in here. The grid I find annoying more than anything. Um, so click, click, and then click. So one of the things we want to do is let's constrain this with our coincident constraint. Let's lock that into that axis. Let's lock this one into this axis. Okay, so now when we move this, they stay put. And now the bottom of it is again perpendicular constraint. It's a cone, right? Now we'll dimension this out. Escape. It selects whatever was last that you touched. So this is 2.98 divided by 2. Right? And then our height is 9. Fat fingers, sorry. 2.9. So we kind of see that shape of that cone right there. Now, you can't just revolve that because it's an unbroken line. It's just an arc. So you need to go through and you can do that and it creates a solid body, or Control Z. Kind of what is installed on here is there's a little screw inside, so it's just drop down. That. Okay, and now let's do another circular arc. All right. And make them concentric. All right. Then we got to close these two ends. See how it's red? We want the black stuff on there, right? So the thickness of that shell, grab your stuff, and just measure that lip right there. So we're 0.75, 0.075, so 75 thousandths, right? Okay, so it'll automatically put that in. This piece in here is about 3/8 of an inch. Right, and our height on that, where that boss is going to be, go back in, and we're just guessing. This doesn't have to be super critical or anything like that. It's tough to do because it's depth. Yeah, a parallel across here would make this easier to do, but just for now, we're just going to get close because it really doesn't matter. So it's about 2 inches deep. So let's point 2. All right, so that's our depth on that. Just for decorative sake, let's just fill it this corner up here. Now, see one of the weird artifacts. See what it did there? It put the arc in the wrong dimension. So just close that out. Control Z. And that'll do it. And then just try it again. Sometimes you got to pick with different sides, but that's just one of the weird little artifacts. It'll put the radius tool on the wrong side, and it just creates a mess out of your drawing. So you got to be careful about how you just pay attention to what you're doing. And close that. Okay, so now we've got a solid part. There's no red. There's no yellow or anything showing. So let's deactivate sketch and then hit revolve. Pick our axis. Yeah. All right. So now we got a chrome bullet. Pretty cool. Now the bullet doesn't have quite that much point on it. I don't think the fillet tool is going to. Yeah, see, it won't do it. It won't. Okay. Jeez. It won't take that little nipple off the end, but it doesn't matter because all we're doing is just we're interested in making the parts, not replicating this stuff exactly. So let's just call this 3-inch. All right. So now we get to make an assembly again. And let's pick our moon bullet, right? You can put 2 or 3 or 10 of them. It doesn't really matter. Now, with that piece in the middle there, it makes it easier to constrain because all this is round and there's no real easy way to constrain this without some kind of little arm on it, some kind of little node. So pick a new constraint. Let's just pick the body of that and our axis, and it'll lock that in, apply it, and then that to our XZ axis. Apply that. Now, you can still roll it, but you can't really see it. It doesn't really matter because it's all round. So that, and we'll save it just because you have to get in the habit of saving things often. Real assembly. Just one of those things with anything computer, you got to save. Okay, so now we need to put the grill in, right? And insert design, XP grill. So one of the things is let's put, I don't know how we're going to constrain this. This is something kind of weird. So let's pick a surface and let's see if we can tangent constrain this. Tangent. What is it? What, 81 and a quarter? Come on. Yeah, it's not doing it. All right. So now what we've got to do is we've got to go through and figure out a way to lock this in where we want it. Set it. It helps to kind of visualize exactly where you're at. Percent. All right. So that, and then we know the grill is about 40 inches wide, right? So let's go. I don't know exactly where it wants to put these, so it's probably about right. They're off to the side. No, they're going to be less than that. They're more like 8 inches over. They're going to be adjustable. You can be able to put them on the grill anywhere he wants. Okay. So now this is one of those things, isn't it? So we got to be able to constrain this from there to there. We're 8 inches down. And then you can use little arrows and start moving things up to where you want them to be. That's 2. Let's hit apply and do the same over here. can lock it to that same dimension, so D3, right? Apply, close. Okay, so now, oops. Reverse it. Okay, so negative D3. All right, because it's on the opposite side of the plane. All right. Okay, so now when we look at it, we can see we've got a dimension. If we want to get that bullet closer, we can go back in and we can edit this and bring it up. And it, because we've got both ends constrained, we can go ahead and move that up and down. We're going to make a 3D printed part, so that little gap in there, that's probably 3/16 of an inch or so, and that should be fine for that. All right, so now we've got something to work with. We know what we're going to, we've got a working space to work inside of now. So save it off. And now, one of the things I didn't show before is we can go ahead and we can actually sketch a part right in here and right in this frame. So we can go add new part, add new sheet metal part, or a new subassembly. So we're going to just start with a new part. Okay, and it's going to ghost everything out. And let's start off with, let's pick this plane. So let's do it the same way we built the cone. Okay, I'll activate the sketch. And then reset the view. So I'd like to have that cone kind of match this taper. I don't want it to be blocky or anything. We want to make it look like it's actually part of the grill, like it's intentional, right? So let's start off with our arc tool. Circular arc again. And let's just pick an area. Okay. Let's lock it down. You know what? This isn't going to work. I can tell you right away that this will start to curve in. I don't want to do that. So let's just undo all these, because this isn't going to work quite the way I thought it would. All right, so let's do it this way. Okay, so deactivate the sketch. Let's go this way. This is going to be simpler. Sometimes you got to think about it in machining terms. Sometimes you just got to think about it in uh, different scales and whatnot. So circle tool, there's our center axis. We know the outside dimension of this is 2.98, right? And then let's boss it, deactivate, extrude it, and let's go dual depth. Okay, so it's going to pick us 5 inches. So we're going to go up. All right, and then the bottom, actually, let's not even do that. Let's just go to depth. Negative 0.75, right? Okay, so you can see that didn't drop down past that grill bar. So just keep going down. So we're at inch 50, inch 250. Okay, so let's do it like that. All right. And then let's just hide this for a second. All right. Let's pick our activator sketch again. Let's just pick the surface. Circle again, right on that center node. We want to have a little bit of a register for that cone to sit on. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do this again. Let's see. So now we've got our base. Let's go ahead and pick our surface skin. We need to kind of get up inside of there. We got to have like a hole up inside uh, for the bolt to go inside of, right? So let's pick that surface again. And then the easiest thing to do is just to make a cone, right? So let's just mention that. And you can kind of just pick a dimension and you can see where the inside of this is. Now, if I was Trick, I could actually make this a curve. Uh, and it would fit that cone better. But just I would like to have a little bit of wiggle room on that because the printer may not be perfect or something like that. There might be some variation in the cone. The cone itself might not be completely round, it may have imperfections inside of it. So give yourself some tolerance in there. It's for making a part like that, it's usually better off to have a little bit of wiggle room on that. So make it 3/16 of an inch tall. This is going to be, let's just make it 1.75 because we want to be able to tighten this down. So we'll have a bolt that'll go up inside and thread into that. This here, 0.5, that's fine. Deactivate it, revolve it. Okay. So we've kind of got our part now, right? So let's go ahead and save this off. We can do some work on it outside of the drawing if we want. Mark it adapter A. Label everything so you can find it when you go look for it later. And that'll save it into that same file. So you can go through and we can make this, we'll probably make it black because everything else on the car is black. Let's see, where's our color? Color properties. Let's just pick black. So we kind of see what it should look like when we're done printing it, right? I want to give us some, a little bit of shape to this, right? So next thing we'll want to do is we want to shell this out. So edit. Uh, we need to put a hole in here. Now there's a couple different ways to do it. You can put this on there. You can actually use the hole tool. You can actually sketch and then push a piece up in there. I think probably for this purpose, it's because we're going to 3D print this, we can actually use something trick. Let's pick our XY again. Activate our sketch. So let's go ahead. Let's just kind of sketch out something that looks interesting to us, right? You just click for every time you want to make a direction change, right? So let's go ahead and start dimensioning this. Axis 0. I got to lock that down because if you don't, it will move on you and you won't be able to get it to revolve or sketch or anything. 1.4375 inch and 7/16. So this like this 0.5. We're going to make a comb to go through that's going to match up the grill teeth, but for the moment we just need to hollow out some of this just so that you've got some room. So you can see our dimensions are fairly parallel. You can measure what that cone angle was and just put that in there, and you can actually put a dimension. This thing isn't super critical, so we're just going to do hard edges like that. And then we'll go revolve cut, axis again. All right, so now we've kind of got this hollow shape in here. We need to have our hole in there. Select it. And to put, it's a 1/4-inch bolt, so we probably need to put a little bit bigger bolt hole in that. It's fine. Deactivate it, extrude it, whatever, it doesn't matter. We just want the hole. So now you can kind of see the ghosted pattern in there. So that's our little armature on the inside. So that's how we're going to attach that part. So now let's worry about our next step here. So we need to put the curvature on the bottom of this. So again, our circular arc, pick our 2 points, put the arc in it, and we know that this minus 0.5, right? Yeah, let's see. Let's go through. Let's do this because you can lock things into 2 different pieces on a dimension like this. So you can see where it's at on our arc. So now we need to go through, it was like 81, right? Like, actually, it's smaller than that, but so now it puts that arc way too high up in there. So we need to make this like 80.75, right? Oh, 80.75. There we go. That's better. So you see it's orange because it's only partially constrained. So let's go through and pick our axis. And we're going to pick our side points. Just make it 2, just because we're just making a cut. Okay, and then we got to box this. So pick that node, drop down, and horizontal constraint. So now we got a drawing that we can scrape the bottom of that off with, right? So let's go ahead and extrude it. I'm just going to go through all. Okay, so now we've got it flush to the bottom of that piece. So now we got to create the space for the slots to go through. And again, we're going to go back and we're going to select that plane again. Okay. Recenter it. So all we're going to do is just a sketch. We're just going to do, we're not even going to worry about boxing it like we did. So circular arc again. Pick our 2 points, right? And then let's just dimension this out so it doesn't move on us. Let's make them 2 again, just because 2 is easy. All right, and then this was the 81.5, and see it's pushed it way up there, so you got to make it concentric again. And that puts it there. So don't worry about that's good enough. It's locked. See, the line is black and it's not dashed. The dashed line is the reference line of the grill. So deactivate the sketch. All right. And then let's do this plane here. So activate on that. So now I need to create this comb area, right? So this is going to take a little bit of doing to get it just right. Easiest thing is our rectangle shape. Be right on that middle. We know these grill bars are like 0.124, so let's make them a little bit bigger, make them like 0.13. Leave them about an inch. That's good. Now we can do a linear pattern. And all right. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. So linear pattern, it does from one side. It's you can't do it on either end. You have to do two separate ones. So let's go to 7 instances, right? And then you can drop it down and it's 0.5 inches. Okay, apply. Oh, so now we've got our piece here. So we can just pick our middle unit. And then we get our axis. Is it going to let us? Sometimes you got to move it around to find that axis because it's inside the part. Now the next trick is we've got to figure out all the height on this, right? So let's pick this axis and or that plane, I should say, I guess. All right, I'll pick the plane. It's not going to let me do that. Come on, pick the axis. Okay. So let's just say it's 0.5, right? So you can see that's going to be way too high. Now we can go in, now that we're going to look at this in a 3D view, we can keep dropping it down. And I want to, okay. I want to get it so you can just kind of see what's going on where that part is. And this is one of the things that kind of helps. You can go through and edit this and just make it 0.9. Yep, that's probably about right. Okay. Reset view. So that's going to be pretty close to where we want to be. To deactivate, now we're going to do a sweep. So we've got you can see that it automatically picks whatever you were touching last. Sorry. So sketch 7 was the last one. Our path object is 6. And you can see it automatically just grinds that right on through. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. So now that's kind of our part. We need to put some screw holes in it so we can attach the next part. We're going to make a clamp to hold all of it together so it can't move once it's on. But yeah, that should be pretty close. You can see it looks like our coincidence is here pretty tight. You might want to open up your tolerances a little bit more, but it's probably not too bad. Depending on your printer or CNC mill or whatever it is that you're using, they're going to have different tolerances, so you kind of have to understand what your tolerance is.